While Tesla, Figure, and Boston Dynamics are all racing to build humanoid robots that can walk, grasp, and fold laundry, Apple just announced they are building a lamp, a screen on a robot arm that swirls. No legs, no hands, no chores. And that might be the smartest move in robotics right now. I've been watching the robotic space for a while now. If you follow the headlines, it's all humanoids all the time. Tesla Optimus, Figure's O2, Agility's Digit, they're all trying to build a robot that can do your chores. Fold laundry, wash dishes, move boxes. But Apple, they're building a lamp. Specifically, it's codenamed J595 internally. A 9-inch iPad-style display mounted on a robotic arm that swirls, tilts, and turns to face whoever is speaking. Inside Apple, they call it the Pixar Lamp. And it's not trying to be a humanoid. It's not trying to walk. It's not trying to cook your dinner. It's just a screen that moves. And that's brilliant. Here's why. It all comes down to the problem that most people don't even realize exists. If you have ever tried to have a conversation with an AI assistant, Siri, Alexa, anything, you probably felt it that something's off. The conversation doesn't flow. You ask a question, it answers. You wait, it's fine. But as soon as you try to talk like humans actually talk, it breaks. Humans interrupt each other. We talk over each other, we cut someone off because we had a thought, then we let them finish. We pause mid-sentence and pick up again. Current AI systems, they don't do that. There's actually research on this now. A 2026 study presented at SHE, the big human-computer interaction conference, timed real conversations between humans and AI agents. Humans respond in about 1.2 seconds on average. AI agents, 4.1 seconds. That's more than 3 times slower. But the real killer is what happens when you interrupt the AI. When a human gets interrupted, we stop talking within 287 milliseconds. That's about a quarter of a second. That's instant. But AI agents, they take like 931 milliseconds to stop, nearly a full second. They just keep talking. And there is a rough threshold audio engineers have used for decades to judge whether a delay feels natural. Under 150 milliseconds, it feels instant, like face to face. Under 400 milliseconds, it's functional, but you notice the delay, like a phone call. Above that, it starts to feel mechanical, robotic. Most AI systems right now are sitting at 4 seconds. That's well past that line. This doesn't feel like talking to a person. The thing is, this isn't a permanent problem. The field is improving fast. New techniques are coming out, things like endpoint anticipation that can predict when you're going to finish your sentence. So the AI can start thinking about its response before you even stop talking. Other systems are finally getting under that 400 millisecond threshold. Apple didn't invent this. They are not solving the conversational AI timing problem in a lab somewhere. But they are timing the market perfectly. Because here's the thing about Apple that everyone knows but nobody talks about in robotics. They don't invent the technology. They take cutting edge stuff that's just barely matured and they integrate it into a product that actually feels good to use. Think about the iPhone. Multi-touch technology that exists in research labs since the 1980s, decades ago. But it wasn't until the mid-2000s that the tech matured enough for Apple to build something that actually worked in your hands. And then they didn't just ship multi-touch. They shipped the entire experience. The glass, the software, the ecosystem. Same thing is happening with robotics right now. The hardware for the robot arm that swirls, that's been around. The conversational AI that can maintain eye contact and swirl to face you, that's just hitting the threshold where it feels human. Apple is looking at this and saying, we don't need to build a robot that folds your laundry. We just need to build a robot you actually want to talk to. And that's a real insight here. Everyone else is chasing use cases. What can a robot do? Can it cook? Can it clean? Can it carry boxes? Apple is chasing the connection. Think about ChatGPT. When it launched, there was no specific use case. Nobody said, I need this to write emails or I need this to debug code. People just tried it, felt that spark of this thing understands me, and then the use cases exploded from there. The connection came first. Apple's Pixar Lamp is the same play. It's not about what the robot does, it's about how it feels to talk to it. And if that connection clicks, the use cases will come. FaceTime calls where the camera actually looks at you, a kitchen companion that follows you with a recipe, a home assistant that just doesn't answer questions but actually maintains a conversation. Those use cases don't need a humanoid. They need a screen that moves and the AI that listens. Here's the thing most people miss about Apple's robotic strategy. They are not trying to beat Tesla or Boston Dynamics at their own game. Apple is building a robot for the living room, not the warehouse. They are building a robot you talk to, not a robot that works for you. And if the conversational AI timing finally hits that 400 millisecond threshold, if the interruption problem gets solved, if the Pixar Lamp actually feels like talking to a person, that's not a lesser robot. That's a different product category entirely. One that might ship in millions before the first humanoid ever makes it to the real home. Apple isn't late to robotics. They are early to the only part that matters, the connection. If you're building anything in robotics or AI, I'd love to hear your take. Are you chasing the humanoid dream, or do you think Apple is onto something here? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to talk about what this means for your own projects, you know where to find me. Apple isn't building a robot that works for you. They are building one that talks to you, and that might be all it takes. That's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next one.